Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make a no-bake blueberry cream cheese pie. In order to make this pie filling, we need to mix our cornstarch and our water together first. So I've got a tablespoon of cornstarch, and then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of water. We're going to whisk this water and cornstarch together. And I like to do this before I ever add it to the pie filling because this helps ensure that we don't have any lumps. Little to no lumps. Alright, we're going to take that cornstarch mixture and we're going to go ahead and pour it into a medium saucepan. We're going to keep our whisk handy because we're going to be using it a little bit more. I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of cane sugar or granulated sugar, whichever one you have. And then I like to add a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon just for extra flavor. You can make that optional if you don't want cinnamon in your filling. And then we're going to put our burner on medium heat, low to medium heat, and we're going to stir this all together really well with the whisk. I feel like the cinnamon just kind of gives all the flavors, especially with the blueberries, gives it all a pop of flavor. So that's why I like to add it in. I'm going to turn that heat down a little because that seems to be really hot for that. We don't want to scorch it. Now that we've got that mixed up and we don't seem to have any lumps or anything, I'm going to switch to a spatula. And I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 cups of blueberry puree. Now, I have a lot of people ask me how to make puree with fruit, and really all I did was take the blueberries that I had, and I'm using frozen blueberries for the puree. I'll use fresh blueberries when we add those in, but for the puree I like to use frozen, and I just thaw them and kind of dry them before I put them in my blender. And then I puree them in the blender and measure out however much I need. In this case it was 2 cups. So you'll need a blender or some kind of fruit masher if you don't have a blender. You could use a potato masher. It's going to leave you with some chunks though. So if you have a blender, that's how you puree. Strawberries, blueberries, bananas, anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat back up. Now we're going to add in 2 cups of just whole blueberries. And I'm using fresh for this part. I kind of like to use fresh when I'm adding the whole ones in because they're going to add more of a structure to our pie filling. We're going to cook this for about 10 to 15 minutes on low to medium heat. And we're going to cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes or until it begins to thicken. And you'll know it'll thicken up. That cornstarch is going to start working. And it's going to thicken into a really nice sauce or filling. But you want to constantly stir because if you don't, it will scorch, and you don't want burnt pie filling. So just make sure that you use a spatula, something that you can scrape the sides with, and stir it the entire time. Your pie filling will start to thicken. Now, if it's not thickening enough, you can add a little bit more cornstarch. But you want to make sure that you mix that cornstarch, however much you add, with just a little bit of water and whisk it together so that you don't get lumps in your filling. Because if you just add the cornstarch straight to the filling, you'll have lumps. And you don't want that. So make sure that you mix it with a little bit of water and then you can put it in and your sauce will thicken up a little bit more. I actually added about 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch with a little bit of water, and that helped tremendously. Now I probably had to add it because I used frozen berries for the puree, and they likely had a little bit more moisture than fresh berries would have had. So if you're using fresh berries, you might not need to add any extra cornstarch at all. But once this has thickened, and I think we're pretty good here. When it comes to cooling your pie filling, You want to remove it from the heat and let it cool completely, because we're going to be putting this on a no-bake cream cheese filling, and you don't want that to heat up. We want that to actually chill. So you want to let your pie filling cool completely. You can let it sit out on the counter, or you can put it in the fridge, and I usually do a mix of both. If I need it quicker, I'll put it in the fridge or freezer just to get it cooled down faster. And it will thicken up even more as it cools as well. To make our cream cheese filling, we're going to go ahead and add 2 blocks of cream cheese. So 16 ounces total, 2 8-ounce blocks. And I like to scrape the package so that I get all of it off of there. I don't want to waste anything. I mean, look at that. That's a lot of cream cheese, and if you throw that away, I mean, that's one less bagel that you can spread cream cheese on. Alright, now you could go ahead and whip that if you want to, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw my other ingredients in and whip it all together. So we're going to go ahead and put in 1½ cups of powdered sugar, and then a tablespoon of milk. And then we're just going to get to mixing and mix it up until it's nice and smooth and creamy. So we've got our cream cheese filling now, and it's pretty stiff, so we're just going to take this cream cheese filling and put it into our already prepared pie crust. We're going to spread it out so it's even. Get some of this excess off of there. You really want to spread it around to the edges, to make sure that it's nice and smooth all around the pie. Now we're ready for the blueberries. Alright, now you're ready for your blueberry pie filling, and we're just going to go ahead and spread that in the crust. Now if you feel like you have a little bit too much topping here for your pie, you don't have to put it all on there. You can save some of it back for ice cream or, toast, anything like that. I'm going to add just a little bit more. I want to make sure we have plenty of blueberry flavor on this pie. Alright, I think we might be good here. I'm excited about this. I can't wait to eat it. As for the crust, you can use whatever kind of crust you want. You can use a graham cracker crust. You could use a cookie crust, like kind of crumble them up like graham crackers and make a cookie crust. You can make a gluten-free crust like we did, or a regular pie crust. It doesn't matter. You can have nuts in it if you want. That's really good, putting pecans or walnuts into it. But I'm just using a regular gluten-free pie crust this time. Alright, so now we're going to take our pie and we're going to put it in the fridge so that it can chill completely. Probably about 2 or 3 hours. You can even let it go overnight if you want to, but probably 2 or 3 hours at least. Is it good? If you like this pie as much as we do, be sure and subscribe to my channel. I'll have more recipes coming soon, more blueberry recipes, more pantry talks, all kinds of stuff coming soon. I'll see you guys later.